All right, let's dive right into today's explainer. Today, we're looking at a completely immersive story, one that literally plays out right on your doorstep every single time you order a package. We're going to unwrap this whole concept of packaging responsibility. We'll be looking at the hidden impacts of the stuff we buy and decoding our source material to really understand how companies are rethinking the very boxes that arrive at our homes.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You order something incredibly small, maybe just a little USB drive or a tiny bottle of face wash. A few days go by and a massive box arrives. You excitedly tear it open, only to find another box inside. And that's wrapped in thick layers of bubble wrap, all just to protect a product that fits perfectly in the palm of your hand. Suddenly, that excitement kind of fades into this mild sense of guilt, right? You're just staring at this giant mountain of leftover cardboard and plastic. Well, that exact customer experience is actually the perfect starting point for us to understand the massive problem of modern waste.
All right, let's jump right into section one, the unboxing story, what's really inside the box. So, to really get this, we've got to define our core concept. Social responsibility in packaging is basically a strong leadership commitment to actively reduce the negative environmental and social impacts caused by packaging materials and all the resulting waste. It's really all about promoting sustainable business practices and lowering carbon emission levels. Think of carbon emissions and environmental damage well, like a muddy footprint. When a company uses irresponsible packaging, it's essentially tracking muddy footprints right into our collective global home. The whole goal of this responsibility is to wipe those boots entirely clean before ever crossing the threshold. Moving right along to section two, rethinking the materials used, peeling back the layers. Now look at this stark contrast between the old way and the responsible way. It's wild. The old way relies heavily on harmful single-use plastics and toxic chemicals. I want you to think of single-use plastics as that one terrible, inconsiderate house guest. You invite them in for 5 minutes just to hold your sandwich or protect a new gadget, and they absolutely refuse to leave your house for the next 500 years, just sitting there in a landfill. The responsible way, on the other hand, is the conscious shift companies absolutely must make toward materials that either easily break down or can be efficiently recycled. We're talking paper, cardboard, glass, metal, and actively encouraging customers to embrace biodegradable options, like using paper bags instead of plastic ones.
But hey, it's not just about the type of material, it's the sheer amount of it. Overpackaging creates completely unnecessary waste and directly drives up carbon emissions. Products really should be packed using the absolute minimum amount of material necessary. Think of overpackaging like putting on a heavy winter parka, a raincoat, and a really thick wool sweater just to walk down your driveway to check the mail on a warm spring day. It's completely unnecessary, it's highly inefficient, and frankly, it's exhausting. Minimizing packaging is basically just taking off those extra layers to directly reduce waste and lower our emissions.
Let's move into section three, a package's lifespan beyond the cardboard.
So, here's where it gets really interesting. Hidden choices can silently reduce massive amounts of waste. Take the food industry, for example. By using smart packaging solutions and high-quality preservatives, companies can actually extend the shelf life of food, which is absolutely crucial in eliminating food waste. Similarly, just shifting to eco-friendly printing processes eliminates the need for toxic inks, directly protecting nature from harmful chemicals. You see, these are silent, structural innovations that are happening long before the product ever reaches you.
But listen, none of these innovations happen in a vacuum. Retailers have to work incredibly closely with their suppliers and other stakeholders to jointly develop this eco-friendly packaging. It's a massive team effort that has to span the entire manufacturing cycle. Actually, you can think of this supply chain collaboration like a massive relay race. From the raw material supplier to the manufacturer, all the way to the retailer. Every single runner in this race must be wearing the exact same green uniform. Because if even one runner decides to use toxic ink or some unrecyclable plastic, the baton drops and the whole system fails to eliminate waste. Which brings us to section four, building a green culture, the invisible ethos. So behind closed doors, there's a clear internal corporate machine at work here. Step one is education, teaching employees all about responsible packaging to really build that internal green culture. Step two brings in the hard metrics. Companies have to establish key performance indicators, or KPIs, to regularly measure and track their waste reduction efforts. I mean, you can't manage what you don't measure, right? And finally, step three is compliance. Companies absolutely must stay updated on and strictly follow both Indian and international laws regarding packaging and waste management. That's the only way to ensure true legal and global accountability. And you know what? All of that internal work ultimately leads directly to you, the consumer. Companies have to interface with the public by being completely transparent about their packaging choices and communicating their waste reduction goals clearly. More practically speaking, every single product label needs to feature clear recycling symbols and super simple instructions on how to safely and properly dispose of the packaging. In this whole story of the package, you, the viewer, are the final protagonist. If the company doesn't give you the clear instructions you need to recycle properly, the entire green cycle literally breaks down right at your garbage can.
Let's look ahead to Section 5, the future of packaging, continuous innovation.
Because the truth is, the quest to lower carbon emission levels and reduce waste, it's never truly finished. Companies have to invest in continuous research and new technologies to create innovative packaging solutions. It's an ongoing journey. Really, an ongoing marathon that requires constant R&D investment. The highly sustainable box of today might look completely outdated 10 years from now, and honestly, that is exactly how progress is supposed to work.
Which brings us to our final and maybe most important takeaway. I love this. True packaging responsibility doesn't end when you open the box. It begins. The companies definitely have a duty to design, minimize, and label responsibly, for sure. But the final action, that rests entirely in our hands. So the next time a package arrives in your doorstep, I want you to look at those materials, look for the recycling symbols, and ask yourself, how are you going to write the final chapter of this unboxing story? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.